Hey guys, VGSquiggy here, and welcome to episode 6 of Shooting the Shit, or STS, or whatever you would like to call it. And today, we have some Overwatch gameplay, and that is actually what we're going to be talking about today. I just wanted to take an episode to talk about Overwatch. If you guys don't know, Overwatch is probably the only game right now that I consistently play every single day. And please don't mistake the fact that I play Overwatch every single day. Don't mistake that for the alternative fact that I'm good at Overwatch. I'm okay. I'm not great. I have friends that are better than me. I have plenty of friends that are better than me. I spend a lot of time in Overwatch, so I thought that I would take an episode to talk about where the game is right now, my thoughts on everything that's going on in the game, and yeah. Before we get into that though, there's a quick channel update. So this week we are finishing up Uncharted 3, and going into next week we will be starting Uncharted 4, which I have the first few episodes of recorded already. And then after that, we will be getting right into Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I'm really excited for. Beyond that, I haven't actually decided what game I'm going to start next. However, I did go ahead and I recently got a list put together of some games that come out between now and whenever. Just games, any games that have been announced whatsoever, really, and just put a list together of some stuff that I would like to play. So a potential series after Lost Legacy is going to be The Evil Within. We could do an Evil Within playthrough in preparation for Evil Within 2, which comes out October 13th, Friday the 13th this year. One of the order of playthrough plans that I do have is actually Evil Within 1, Wolfenstein the New Order, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, Evil Within 2, and then Wolfenstein 2 the New Colossus, which comes out October 27th, 2017. Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 are both games that I want to play. Some other games that are coming out that I would like to play here on the channel but may not happen. The new Life is Strange game comes out August 31st. That will probably not happen just because it comes out so soon after Lost Legacy. What else do we have here? Middle-earth Shadow of War comes out October 10th, which may not happen because Evil Within 2 comes out 3 days after that. Same thing with Assassin's Creed Origins, coming out actually the same exact night as Wolfenstein 2. And then later this year, unless it gets delayed, of course, we have Vampire. And then going into next year, we have A Way Out that I have listed. And then there's some other stuff after that. But that's kind of where I'm standing at right now, and of course some other stuff is a given, like Destiny 2. We did some gameplay of the beta here on the channel, and I will of course be playing the game when it comes out. And then a couple other things that I have written down just as like maybe fillers in case we have any lulls in releases. I would like to play the Crash Bandicoot trilogy here on the channel, as well as Prey, which came out a few months back. Prey, I started Prey, and then I think I was in the middle of Prey when I got into Uncharted, and I just kind of got distracted and never really went back to it. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now on the channel. And yeah, that's about it. Anyway, back to Overwatch. I actually just recently broke level 400. So that gives you an idea of how much time I have into the game. I'm at around 300 hours. I think I'd actually have to look to be sure. And a lot of that time has been spent in just quick play. I think the competitive season that I spent the most time in was probably Season 2, and that was less than 50 hours. I did, however, recently do my placements for Season 5, just because I'm close to having enough competitive points to finally get a golden gun. So I wanted to make sure I got that in. And I actually did record all my placement matches with some commentary. And you guys could potentially see those videos at some point. I have a couple ideas of other things that I might want to do with them, and I might not use the live commentary that I recorded. But I did finally drag myself out of silver rank, so I'm in gold again. Which brings me to my first subtopic, being the hidden MMR system. So I played Season 1 competitive of Overwatch, and for those of you that don't know or weren't into the game that long ago, the first season of Overwatch competitive was very different than the rest of the seasons in that it was a ranking system from 0 to 100 rather than the thousands system that we have now. And I was ranked around 65-ish, I think, in the first season. And then second season came around and we got the new system, and I got ranked around 2300. And then I was around the same for the next in the next season, in Season 3 as well. And then Season 4 came around and I got ranked around 2000 initially, and just because I was players leaving pretty far into a match, so it was 4v6 matches, so you had leavers and throwers, and all that started to happen in Season 4 a lot, in my personal experience anyway. And so by the end of Season 4, I ended up being ranked around 1700, which was rough. And because of that, I played my competitive matches, and my placement matches, I'm sorry. I played my placement matches for Season 5 recently, and I played them all in one sitting. And I ended up with 7 wins and 3 losses. And if you guys end up seeing the videos at some point, you'll see that in at least all the 7 win games, I did pretty consistently well. I had a couple games with 45 plus eliminations. And so I was doing pretty well. So I was really excited, and then I got to my ranking, and I was ranked at 1915. Which initially I was upset about, but then throughout the day, because I did that late into the night, early into the morning, and then as I went on with my day, I started thinking about it, and then it hit me. The hidden MMR system is the reason behind that. Now, the hidden MMR system is basically, in layman's terms, the ranking that I was at the end of last season heavily influences where I got ranked at the beginning of this season. And even beyond that, way back, I'm not sure if because of the system changes, it changed between Season 1 and Season 2, but back to the very first the first season or the second season of Overwatch Competitive, the game assigned me a hidden MMR, which is basically, you know, there's your competitive ranking that you see in game, and then there's another ranking in the coding of the game. Basically, I'm trying to make this as easy to understand for everybody. That you don't see, that the game has assigned you fairly early on. Now, this ranking is much harder to influence than your SR ranking, obviously. Otherwise, it would have very little point in the game, because it would just be like a secondary SR. Now, I understand the reasoning behind this to a point. I understand that the reason it's there is so new players can't come in and have the placement matches of their life, and then they never win another competitive match. But because they had the initial placement matches of their life, they will consistently get ranked, you know, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, or even higher. And I understand that. However, I feel like maybe every few seasons, maybe they could reset the MMRs a little bit, because then there's players like me who have obviously grown a lot since the first 2 seasons of competitive, as players. But because of that initial MMR, it's still hard to get that ranking up. And obviously, I'm not huge into competitive, as I stated at the beginning of this subtopic. So, who am I to complain? You know, if I wanted to, I could grind and get my SR up over 25, 3,000-ish. And then next season when I did my placements, I would be ranked higher. But I just wanted to throw some thoughts on that in there. And maybe I will grind some competitive out. Season 5 has like less than a month left though, so I don't know if that's going to happen. Yesterday it was confirmed that the Summer Games event is coming back, and it's starting a week from yesterday, so that's August 8th. And with Summer Games coming back, they have announced that Lucio Ball will be returning on a new map in Sydney. And they also announced that all of the skins from last year's Summer Games will be available in loot boxes again. And you can purchase them again. So that's exciting for anybody that didn't get any skins that they wanted. I think that's a really good decision on Blizzard's part. I got into Summer Games was the very first event of Overwatch last year, and Overwatch in general. And that's around the time that I got involved with the game, and I actually played Lucio Ball very, very little because I was very inclined on getting good at the game itself before, and so I didn't, at that point I wasn't focused on having fun, as bad as it sounds. I was focused on getting good. So I'm excited to try out Lucio Ball some more. They also announced that Mercy and Junkrat will be getting some really cool skins, and apparently Mercy's skin is one of Jeff Kaplan's favorite skins in the game. So that's exciting. I really think that Overwatch has really nailed it with their events. Overall, you know, with the exception of a few uprising. But yeah, I think that I loved Winter Wonderland. I loved Halloween is probably still my favorite event, just because I think it had the best skins, and Junkenstein's Revenge was a lot of fun as a PvE event. And then obviously Anniversary had some great skins, and they introduced Lockout Elimination and the limited duels. But yeah, I think that they're doing a really good job with their events, and I look forward to seeing what the second year of Overwatch is going to bring after the summer games. Next thing I want to talk about is a topic that a friend of mine suggested that I talk about, and that is the newest map in Overwatch, being Horizon Lunar Colony. Now, among my group, this is kind of a controversial subject. Some people like it, some people think it's just okay, but there are some people that absolutely hate this map with a passion, like think they're ruining the game if they go in a direction that is similar to this map in any way. And I don't know. I understand a lot of the argument is that the map is defensively weighted, which I can kind of understand. I do disagree with how close the second spawn room is to the second point for the defensive side. I think that is one thing that I would definitely change on the map. But you know, when the map first came out, I had issues playing on it when I was playing with my friends, and then but then the first time I solo queued and I was attacking, I absolutely destroyed the other team. So I don't know. It's kind of I haven't really made a decision on Lunar Colony. It's definitely not my favorite map. I think that I can definitely say that it's my least favorite map, but whether or not I hate it or it's ruining the game, I have yet to make a decision on that front. Moving on to another new addition to Overwatch, that being the new hero Doomfist. Doomfist is, I think, an excellent addition to the hero roster. I think that he is going to be a tough character to master, but I also think that once we get farther into his life cycle, and we start seeing the people that have put a lot of Doomfist time in, they are going to be a serious force to be reckoned with. Just like some of the other tougher characters, like Zarya. If you come across a really good Zarya in a game, she definitely will make her presence known. And you know, I've got almost 300 hours into the game, and Zarya I have begun to get good with within the past 15 hours probably. So it takes a long time, and of course that's me like pretty much heavily avoiding Zarya, to be honest. So that's basically just when Mystery Heroes is forcing me to play her. But I think that Doomfist is probably around that same difficulty. But his mobility and his passive ability of gaining shields when he does his any kind of melee damage, I think that's a pretty powerful combo to be into one hero, and I think that he is probably going to be much larger in Season 6 competitive. And I'm interested to see what happens on the pro level with him. One little thought I want to throw in here is about loot boxes. Early on in Overwatch, people kept saying, "Oh, Overwatch has loot boxes. They're gonna end up putting, it's gonna end up being pay to win. They're gonna stop doing just cosmetic stuff in the loot boxes." Which, you know, I mean, I probably said once or twice. But Blizzard has stayed true to their word, and they have kept everything in the loot boxes to be cosmetic. And on top of that, anything that you can get in loot boxes, you have been able to purchase with the in-game currency at some point. Now, obviously, some of the seasonal events, once the event's over, you can no longer purchase them, but I think that that's fair. But another thing with the loot boxes is in the last patch, they implemented the new loot box system where you will get more currency for your duplicates, but you will also get less duplicates. And when I say less duplicates, I mean way less duplicates, because since the last update, being the update that Doomfist came out, I have literally not gotten any duplicates, which is crazy, because I was starting to get to the point where I was getting 3-4 duplicates in a loot box, like, often. And apparently, in the Summer Games patch, they are going to patch it again, so it's even less duplicates. So I'm just expecting to never get another duplicate, at least for another 50 hours in game. So I'm excited about that. Of course, the other side of that is that means that eventually you will completely run out of things that you need. Aside from, like, seasonal event skins that never come back, maybe. But just so you know, Blizzard, I will be very, very upset with you if you don't bring back the Junkenstein Junkrat skin. It was the only skin that I really, really wanted for Halloween, and I didn't get it. And I didn't have the currency for it, so please bring it back. But yeah, so that's the quick thoughts on the loot box system and changes that they are making. And the last thing I wanted to bring up was the Overwatch League. For those of you that don't know, Activision Blizzard bought up the MLG company last year. And I want to say around this time last year. And they're taking the competitive scene by storm pretty soon, I believe, with the Overwatch League. They've already announced several teams and owners and all that. And I'm just really excited. And here's the thing that I think is going to make Overwatch League so much different than all the other, you know, the CSGO competitions, the Call of Duty competitions, League of Legends, all, like, don't get me wrong, all of those competitive scenes are great, but Overwatch and Blizzard and Activision and all of them, they have made the decision to do something that nobody in the gaming scene has ever done before, and I've never understood why. All of the Overwatch League teams are going to be city-based. I pulled up a list of the announced teams thus far. So it looks like the first 7 teams were revealed in July, so this past month. So we've got a team in Boston, which is owned by Robert Kraft. A team in New York, owned by Jeff Wilpon. A team in LA, owned by Noah Winston. Or Weinstein, I'm not sure. A team in Miami and Orlando, owned by Ben Spunt. A San Francisco team, owned by Andy Miller. And then there's also a team in Shanghai, China, owned by NetEase, and a team in Seoul, South Korea, owned by Kevin Chow. Says players that are selected for the league would be assured a minimum $50,000 annual salary with health and retirement benefits, as well as housing and training support, and Blizzard required teams to split at least 50% of the season bonuses among the team's players, stating that at least $3.5 million in such bonuses will be available in the first season. Also, in July 2017, it was discovered that the Major League Baseball Association had issued a trademark dispute for the logo that Blizzard registered for the league, stating in their complaint to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office that they felt Blizzard's logo was too similar to their own and may cause confusion. Which I can see that. I can see the there's a little bit of yeah. There's definitely some similarities there, which was probably intentional. Blizzard, I see what you're doing. But yeah, so I think that the fact that that Blizzard has chosen this city-based team system is genius, in that, you know, several of the cities that were announced to have teams, just the first two, Boston and New York. Boston, people from Boston and people from New York are famous, or in some cases notorious, for rooting for things just because they have to do with their city. So I think that this is going to be potentially be a great way to pull in even non-gamers into this scene. And, you know, I could be wrong, but I think that this is going to pull in even more of a fan base than doing, let's say they just were like, they just contacted all the big teams, you know, Contact FaZe, Envy, Cloud9, Optic, whoever, and we're like, hey, come join Overwatch League, please. You know, I'm sure that that would be successful too, but I think that this is a much better idea, and I'm excited to see what Overwatch, yeah, that's what I meant to say, Overwatch League brings to the competitive scene when it does launch. So yeah, I talked for a long time. Wow, I talked for a long time. But yeah, I just wanted to take an episode to talk about Overwatch, as it is a rather large part of my gaming habits. My gaming habits? I don't know. It makes it sound like a bad thing. I don't know. Anyway, what do you guys think about all the stuff I talked about today? Do you like the hidden MMR system? How do you feel about the events and that Summer Games is coming back? Maybe you can help me decide whether or not I hate Horizon Lunar Colony. Same thing with Doomfist. Maybe some of you think that he's terrible. Maybe you think that he's OP. I don't know. I don't think he's OP. I think he was probably going to be OP if they hadn't nerfed his rocket punch in the PTR so fast. And then, you know, the loot box system and Overwatch League. Are you excited for Overwatch League? Who are you going to be rooting for? Obviously, there's more teams that haven't been announced. I'm hoping that there's one closer to where I live. Probably the closest potential one is Chicago. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. And all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this week's STS with VGSquiggy, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the next episode of Uncharted 3.